All right, hard yarners. We are joined today by Jessica Williamson on Unstoppable Success, the book. It's out now. We touch on how to get that later on and our guests. But before we go into what we spoke about today,
we're proudly brought to you by alltradescover.com.au. If you want unstoppable success in your workplace and you need insurance, I'm sure you can find them on alltradescover.com.au.
What sort of insurance specifically,
just
Delby?
successful insurance. So if you have an ABN and you're a small business or a big business, contact alltradescover.com.au and find out what they can provide you, because I cannot give you a specific example.
For legal reasons.
But like I used to.
They're awesome. So head to their website, get involved, and they're just a good crew. Good to hear some listeners are going in and referencing the podcast before they get their business.
Thank you for our little community.
Awesome. This episode is also brought to you by Kahuna Golf. If you want to play, as we talk about in the episode, you want to play golf and schedule it in to break up your week and it's your meditation.
If you want to look good, feel good,
and play good,
be good.
Well, play good, Delby. Come on.
Yep. Check out Kahuna Golf on Instagram or in our links in bio, and you'll get a discount, 15% off. Hard Yarns 15 is the code that you want. People hopefully use codes. We found out they're a bit lazy in this episode, but you can use the code Hard Yarns 15, and you will get 15% off, which is, with the cost of living, mate, that's a deposit on a house these days, so get around it.
100%. And this episode is also brought to you by Raunchy Brewing, the beer that's actually good, and Sir Henry's...
Squealing Pig Comedy Night.
Yeah, Squealing Pig
Thursday,
Comedy
June
Night.
13th.
So starting every Thursday night, we've got the comedy night at Sir Henry's.
Very exciting stuff.
So that's going to be good.
But today was an epic podcast. Very good.
Flowed
One of my
very
favourite
well.
ones in a while. We have been joined by Jessica Williamson, Unstoppable Success. What did we talk about, Miss Williamson or Mrs. Williamson?
We covered it all, I think.
Yeah.
But we really got deeper into, building out the boundaries, freedom, trying not to burn ourselves out as high-achieving entrepreneurs. And we dived pretty deep into the
creating
mindset
a business from scratch, selling an international business, having Alibaba steal your ideas.
And earning that money.
Earning that cash.
Cash money.
So, really awesome. If you are, everyone will enjoy this.
I think so.
Yeah, no matter who you are, you're going to enjoy this episode.
I agree. It's a bloody awesome episode. So
thank you, Jess, for your time.
Thanks.
And let's get hard.
Welcome to Hard Yarns Podcast.
I am fucking fat.
Anything Chris White says, please disregard it.
5D is actually a state of being. It's a unity consciousness.
That was Hard Yarns with me, Frankie Rose. So I'm going to throw it over to your co-host,
Daniel Delby.
and Cameron Branch.
I would do this and then I'd gong.
Free in attendance for the millions listening at home. Let's get hard.
All right. Bloody hell. We got success, unstoppable success.
Hell yeah.
How good. I'm ready for that.
Yeah. If you're looking for a sign to shake things up, step into that person capable of wild success, and this is it.
Mate, I was just saying off air that you're, I think, going to benefit a lot.
Yeah,
from
fucking oath. I've
this.
wanted to get an entrepreneur on for ages.
Well, just more so for your balance, your life balance at the moment. Are you struggling with a few, not struggling, but trying to juggle things?
Yeah.
This is going to be good. But incredible to have you on, Jess.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. From TV to the Hard Yarns.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you're on the Today Show, eh?
Yeah, the Today Show in Sydney.
How was that?
Yeah, it was epic.
Yeah.
It was over and done with pretty quick, but
I
it
can
was
relate.
epic. Yeah.
Yeah, so what, they gave you, what was it, about 5 minutes? 10 minutes?
About 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was meant to be about 7, but, the Met Gala was on, so that took priority.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody wearing fucking garden pieces. And
Oh, that's so weird. What they're wearing.
Yeah.
And they put a big. I think was it this year was the theme
it was something garden or timeless garden or some shit.
Yeah.
It was one of Cam's quizzes questions.
I love it when someone tries to go all political and they try to be look after the homeless. And you're at the Met Gala.
Yeah.
Fuck, come on.
Derelict.
Yeah.
So I guess we should start with where did your journey start? And we were just talking before that you coached one of the ladies that I was a celebrant for, who's a 6-figure entrepreneur by the sound of things.
Yeah.
And look of things.
So How far back do we want to start?
Well, we are all about the hard journey.
All
so
right.
start at day one.
Yeah,
Alright.
why'd you launch into this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually, one of my first ever businesses was when I was in grade 2, actually.
Righto.
I love
Yeah.
the hustle.
I've
I
kind
love
of
that.
been the hustler from day one. So I actually created like the girls' club because I saw everyone at recess was just playing aimlessly in my
Yeah.
eyes. So I was like, we can do this better.
We need to organise play.
We need to organise. Some people are like, that is my worst nightmare. But I'm like, we're going to organise games and we're going to have prizes for it.
Cool.
So got everyone to sign up, paid their 20 cents. They got their contract signed. They signed themselves up. And I even drew a little profile image of each person in the corner.
Oh my God.
Was this before Facebook or was this when MySpace was around?
Oh,
Year
none
2?
of the above.
None. Wow.
Yeah, this was
Okay.
like 1998.
Wow.
Something
Yeah.
around then.
Yeah.
So you got a profile.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
profile picture.
Was it girls only?
It was. It was the girls' club.
Oh, in 2024,
Come on,
the
mate.
boys can join as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then I used the 20 cents to buy all the lollies from the canteen. They were the prizes, and so
Oh, you were really structured. Like, I started a lemonade stand. Like I thought that was a sick hustle. Like,
there was no profits. It was
Yeah.
like not for profit.
Yeah.
So
it's a
did that.
not for profit.
You have your first not-for-profit organisation in
Got
year
to serve
2.
the community,
Yeah.
you know, out
Yeah.
there doing my job.
Yeah.
But then the teachers found out and
Yeah.
they basically said, you're a scammer. You got to refund everyone. You can't take people's money
Oh my-
because it's not ethical. And so here I was like 6 or 7 years old being told you cannot take money from other people.
people.
And
That's not like how jobs work or anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
not at all. But honestly, if it was me now, I'd be like,
Yeah. Go for it.
get effed. You
Yeah.
know, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back then, you're a freaking
Yeah.
tiny child.
Yeah.
You're like, authorities tell me I'm doing something wrong. Better stop it.
Yeah.
So then I didn't do anything for
Yeah.
a long, long time after that.
Yeah, I was a high school teacher for 10 years,
Yeah.
except for the last 2 years. And my students had something similar. They would charge people like $25 and get weed in return. And then unsell that.
Yeah.
I was like, look, it's frowned upon.
Oh, yeah.
But
I think they call that dealing. Not
oh,
hustling.
okay. I thought it was a small business. So, but yeah, so what you've had that that thought implanted into you that it's not right to do this.
Yeah.
That
Not
sucks.
allowed.
Yeah.
It's unethical.
That's
Public school?
well,
Yeah.
Okay.
similar to like my school teachers telling.
Yeah.
I think I told it on the pod was they told me being a filmmaker was very unrealistic,
Yeah.
and that's not anything against the teachers.
Yeah.
It's just more like I think they were told that as they were growing up as well. Like, don't be practical, be logical, and stick in your fucking lane. Is basically I think what
And
they
I
used
think
to say.
society is built on wanting to make everyone sort of sit in that middle ground.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't play too big.
yeah,
Yeah.
And particularly in Australia, we get told set realistic goals and,
Yeah.
don't get too big for your boots and, you
Yeah.
know, make sure you stay down to earth and all these things. And it's something that really grinds my gears. And
Yeah.
I'm like, set all the unrealistic goals. Something that I talk about in my book is like, let's just play in Fantasyland.
Yeah.
Why the
Yeah.
hell can't you be, a successful video creator, whatever it is that you want to do, unless you believe that it's possible, it's never going to be.
Yeah. So you're encouraging to play in Fantasyland even though you want to get the rules and the profiles and the 20 cents,
yeah, exactly.
have a play. Yeah. So after primary school, what was your next little
Yeah.
I hate little.
Yeah.
What was your next
Yeah.
venture? When I do comedy, people go, "Oh, how's your little comedy going?"
How's your
It's
little
like,
raps going?
It's not
Delby?
little.
Well, when I was maybe later in high school, I did start a perfume business with one of my friends that lived down the street. And what we used to do, it was very sustainable business models. So we would get the flowers from all the neighbours' gardens and grind it up. We'd mix it with water and then sell it back to them by door knocking.
Oh, wow.
And so we'd sell it back to them as perfume.
Like they just look at you and look up. There's a whole patch of their garden missing.
This is such the Gary V hustle
Yeah.
when you're young. Just do
Sustainable
whatever you
sourcing,
can.
we
Yeah,
gotta,
I love it.
we gotta
Did it actually smell good, or did it just?
Probably just went a weird brown
smelled
colour.
like water.
Yeah.
We sold it before it went off.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And will people buy it?
Yeah, people were because we just knocked on the doors and, they probably felt sorry for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So how old were you there?
maybe like 10.
Wow.
10 or 12.
Right.
Yeah.
Fuck, so early days.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm like
the signs
opportunities.
Are there.
Look, there's some flowers not being utilised over there. Let's
Let's crush them up and extract their juice.
Yeah.
What was this encouraged by your parents or anything, or is this just something that
to
happened
be honest,
to you?
I don't think they knew I was doing it.
Yeah, right.
I'm just out running the streets,
Yeah.
Yeah, but were they supportive in your dreams and your aspirations?
Yeah, really supportive. But I've always been someone, I just do things and don't actually tell anyone about it. And so that's something that I had to learn about myself is I was probably too hyper independent where I was like, I'm doing this. No one has to know. Everyone's on like a need to know basis because I'm on my mission.
You're back an excellent drug dealer.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't tell anyone that I was doing really anything. So when I started my first business, which was we'll call it the first legitimate business was a swimwear brand when I was 22. So I just decided I was working marketing at the time. I'm going to start a global fashion brand because that's what you do, with
Why start small?
Yeah, we're going global
Yeah.
from day one. I had no experience in fashion, no experience in manufacturing. I mean, I did a business degree, but that's about as useful as a piece of paper in reality.
Because business commerce, it was like you do like management or something. You do marketing 101.
Yeah.
You do sort of like just like
it's very
the vanilla
based.
Yeah.
And there's like no practical. I did it. So I graduated when did I graduate? No idea, to be honest. I've gone
14?
blank. Maybe 2012, 2013. There was not one lesson through my whole degree that ever spoke about digital marketing. And at the time, Instagram was around, all these platforms. So yeah, it wasn't.
What was it? What was the back then? Was it posters and adverts and radio?
Oh, they didn't even
TV?
teach the practical. They were just
Really?
like, here's how
Email?
to create a marketing strategy at like a CEO level. And it's like, cool, but if I'm graduating uni, even getting a job, I'm not at CEO level. And CEOs don't even follow their damn templates. Like you just make it up.
Because I'm in marketing as well, what my previous business was. And one of my last clients, they were going to put out a tender for a tender for anyone who wanted to be the marketing manager for their business. And I was already the thing. And he said, for you to have the best chance, you should go get a marketing degree because you're just a guy in their eyes to the board of directors. And I was like, well, that's not going to add anything to my value. But so that's another reason I end up saying, nah, I'm not doing that one. Because people don't listen. They see the avenues to success are like, you have to do this, this, and this in this order, and that's how you're going to get there.
Exactly.
And if someone goes outside the lines, they're like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
But
So after you've done your marketing degree, have you had to teach yourself digital marketing, or was that a consequence of wanting to have this swimwear brand, global swimwear brand?
I actually ended up working in marketing for maybe 2 or 3 years before I started the swimwear brand, and I was really passionate about digital marketing. So I just used to get on and do like Google and Facebook have their own like training programs. So I just like would watch that for fun and just be like, right, I need to upskill. And I just had an interest in it. So I was like naturally drawn to it.
That helps.
Yeah. And so then I used to actually just create Instagram accounts for fun, which most people are like, that is not fun. Like you need to get a life, Jess. But I was like, this is fun. So I would just be doing it 24/7, like under my desk, build accounts.
Like catfishing people, or like just creating
I created
fan
like
accounts?
a homewares account where I would just share like all the best Australian homewares. And so I didn't have my own products, but I was like, let me just build it around a certain topic and people could build a community. So I built that to like 10,000 followers, close it down, create a new one about fashion or something else.
Why would you close it down?
I don't know. I was like, I did it.
Yeah.
You know, that was it's like a game. I think entrepreneurs, we have this like sick relationship with like the game of like, let me win the game and then like I've done it and then let me start.
It's like Age of Empires with Instagram.
I loved that game when I was
Age of Insta.
I used to play RuneScape. But yeah, so I just used to build Instagram accounts for fun. So I was like, cool, I love fashion. I'm good at Instagram. Yeah. Basically, I created it because I was like, I'm good at Instagram.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me create an Instagram brand around swimwear and we're going global.
How it goes from there.
We're going global.
Back then, with the Instagram accounts, could you just create an email and start it up and just have heaps and heaps and heaps? Because I think now to get more than one, it even confuses me. I think I've got 4 and it's like...
Yeah, you can only have 10, I think, at a time.
Yeah, it still confuses the fuck out of me.
But I found a little hack. So, because I had like maybe 15 or 20 different accounts I was managing, you link one to the, you maybe link 4 or 5 to one of the accounts, and then so you sign into that, and you can get like
but that still fucks with me right now because like I don't know. Then it's like, do you want to link your Meta ad account? And then I've got my seller receipt. Then it's all fucking it's all over the shop, and it's still not very easy to navigate.
That's why you need someone to do it for you.
Yeah. But so with you creating different accounts, was that just like you had your email and you just add 10 different pages?
Or you couldn't I think I used a different email
every time.
Each one. Yeah, because you couldn't link them back then. But it was...
So it was like RoxyChick69@hotmail.com.
Well, my email actually was Jess Rocks.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Nailed it. Yeah, right. So you've created all these followers and you hadn't figured out how to monetize it, all these little homeware ones and that, or?
I just didn't think
want to?
about it.
Yeah.
Like at the time I was thinking maybe I'll create my own homewares brand, maybe I'll do fashion, maybe I'll do swimwear. And I remember driving home one day and I was like, just choose one.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. So I just chose one and I had this laser focus with the clear vision of we're going global.
Yeah.
Like there's no playing small. There's no like, let me just test out Perth and see if it goes well. It's like, we're going big, we're going global, we're taking on the world. Yep. So then, of course, I looked for international manufacturers and then I, went over to Melbourne and did a photo shoot with a specific photographer that I was like, she gets the vibe.
Right.
So
okay, well, let's press pause there because I want to break this down a bit more because this shit really intrigues me.
Yeah.
So first question is when you were like, right, we're going to go global before you've even before you've even designed anything.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that motivated by money or motivated by ego or motivated by just wanting to do something big?
Ooh,
because
good question.
I would be looking at, I want something to be global because I know that if I sell 1 million of things at $5 each, that's 5 mil across the globe. That doesn't seem that hard.
Yeah.
But if you want to sell 1 million things in Perth, that's nearly every person in Perth is going to have to buy it. Mm-hmm. So what was your...
Yeah, I didn't even think about the money, to be honest. I didn't even think about it. I just used to watch like America's Next Top Model and like all these things. And I was like, that looks like fun.
Yeah.
I want to be
yes.
on those photo shoots, like directing the heck out
of
it.
So you wanted to be behind, you wanted to be behind the camera.
Yeah, I was not doing like the DIY shoots like with me and the bathers down the beach. Yeah. I was like, no, we're getting a proper model, we're getting a proper photographer.
Get Tyra Banks to abuse them.
Yeah. and I think that's where success needs to start. I think a lot of people maybe see, oh shit, those people are making a ton of money. It looks easy.
Always wrong.
I'm going to copy that business model. And then it never works out. Whereas I was just like, this looks fun as hell.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have fun with it. I think as entrepreneurs also like I said before, we love the game, the challenge.
Yeah, enjoy it.
We're like, give me a challenge. Like I could make it myself. It's not going to be good. I'm going to DIY it in Perth. But like, I love the challenge. Yeah. Let me manufacture overseas. Let me, do this on a big scale.
Cool.
But
so was your, before you went to manufacturing, did you have an idea in mind? Did you want like swimwear to be comfortable for girls? Did you want it to look good? Did you have like a certain color pattern that you were like, I just love yellows or like whatever it is?
Yeah.
What was your inspiration and what was that next move there?
Yeah, at the time it was like all just black and khaki and just like triangle bathers. Yeah. Like it was so plain and I was like, where's the pink? Where's the frills? Yeah. Like I want the
Give
feminine.
me that Barbie vibe, baby.
Yeah, the feminine vibes, but also like let's make it comfy so you can like run and rock climb, but like have your frills on.
Hell
That's the vibe that I went for.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, I basically created something that I wanted.
Yeah.
That I couldn't find.
It sounds like you just did.
Yeah.
You just did it.
And found
instead of procrastinating and going, this needs to be perfect, you just started doing.
Yeah. And that was like my superpower. And that's kind of why I wrote my book, Unstoppable Success, because I realized not everyone thinks like that. Yeah. And for a long time, I was like, just effing do it. What do you mean you got to think about it? Like, just do it. And
100%.
I honestly part of it was like being young and naive. I didn't think about the fact that swimwear is probably the hardest business to start. One,
so much competition, saturated
fashion.
market.
Yeah.
Two, people buy a swimsuit once a year, and that's
Yeah.
from all brands,
Yeah.
not just your brand.
Yeah.
And like it's seasonal.
Yeah.
And so there were so many challenges, but like not one of them crossed my mind. And I think that's why it was successful.
Yeah.
Because don't you think like waiting for the right time and perfection, that breeds procrastination? It ends up like you end up not doing it at all. And
And
then
also-
you're like, fuck, what could have been?
The fact that you've got into it, and I do this quite often, where you go in with almost like a naivety, where if you had to structured up your strengths and weaknesses, everything that you just mentioned, you go, oh, fuck, what's the point? Like, I'm not going to fucking try that.
Yeah.
But because I feel like we're very similar minded, you just go, no, I'm going to do this. It's a good idea. It's going to fucking work.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And if it's not perfect from the start, I can work on it, improve it. And
Otherwise you never start.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you've got this this idea. You want your pink frilly. You want it to be sort of almost be able to do things in it, like active. This is where I don't know how people do this, because you would have to find a manufacturer. So do you fly to China? Do you go to Taiwan?
No.
What do you do?
I went online.
Yeah.
Firstly, and I knew that China, it gets a bad rap, but they actually have a lot of certifications and stuff that a lot of other countries like Bali and things don't have regulations around.
As in like fair trade or like labour or material or like
all of the above. But I mean, sometimes you never know, you know, what's truly going on. But like China is quite highly regulated as well. But I hit up probably over 100 factories.
Right.
And went like 24/7. I was like messaging them, walking to my car, on the toilet, like 24/7, back and forth, just trying to narrow it down because I needed low quantities. I need someone to do what I needed to do. And so then I narrowed it down, got some samples from a few of them. Some were horrendous.
As you'd expect.
Well, who designed? Did you just draw a design and go, hey, try and make this?
Yeah, because here's the thing again. I didn't worry about what is the right way to do it.
Yeah.
I was just like, right, I need to tell them what I want.
Yeah.
So what's the easiest way that eliminates any miscommunication? Let me draw it. Let me get reference images. Let me say these kind of straps, this kind of clasp, gold bits here.
Yeah.
Like, let me just draw a diagram, write the measurements. I don't need a crazy tech pack.
Yes.
And I actually, even once I learned the proper way to fashion design, still did it my way because I was like, it's quicker and easier.
Yeah.
And we can communicate fair enough.
Yeah, because how was the language barrier? There wasn't very good Google translation and that back then. Did you have to?
Well, they actually have, so the makers usually can't speak much English, but they always have an account manager who's done like a whole uni degree on English.
Wow, yeah, okay.
So they were really great and they then liaised with the makers.
And were you
that's so
balancing
interesting.
another job?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was going to say.
Yeah, my full-time jobs, I was working in digital marketing.
Yeah.
And just doing this under the desk.
Oh, well, I was about to say, if you're digital marketing, you'd probably go, I'm on the phone. They're like, what are you doing?
Just digitally marketing.
Just posting.
My own business.
I know, I was the worst employer by the end because I stayed there for about a year while growing this business. By the end, I had like my big monitors up on the screen and I was photoshopping my whole print designs.
Yeah.
Like very clearly not for an IT company.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, with was this costing you any money to be liaising with the manufacturers and getting prints made and examples made?
Yeah, it costs to make samples. So I think it was like $200 USD per style.
Right.
Yeah. So it cost me money, but then of course the manufacturing cost a bunch as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Was that to get your samples or once you'd approved it?
both.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've gone, so you start hitting up all these factories. They've given you some samples. You've narrowed it down. But to find these factories, is it just like Alibaba or is it like you type in China manufacturing swimwear?
Yeah, Alibaba's a good leeway in, but what a lot of people don't realize is all the photos they use as references of like, hello, we can make this. They're stolen off the internet.
Yeah.
My brand was actually viral all over Alibaba, like rip-off designs everywhere of my own stuff,
Was
my
that
own
frustrating?
photos.
So once you got it done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was frustrating.
Yeah.
But if you chat to them and then you get deeper and find out like what is it that they do, can they do my quantities?
Yeah.
It just takes a lot
of time?
A lot of time
Yeah.
messaging back and forth.
And then how
24/7.
much thought goes into the name of the brand, the name and the style names and whatnot?
Well, I was scrolling Instagram one day and for some reason I was following like an account called French Words.
Yeah.
And the word came up, été, which means summer in French. And I was like, done, brand name, done.
Fuck, I love
That's
that.
it. You know, like I was like, it's short, it's sweet, it looks cute. No one knew how to say it. Like some people were like, eat swimwear. And I was like, whatever you want to call it. You know,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Été phone home.
Yeah.
That's great. I like that.
Yeah.
nice.
So that
Just felt
was
right at the
where
time.
the name came
So
from.
anyone in
Yeah.
France is like, summer.
Summer swimwear. Yeah.
Summer swimwear. Or it's summer swimwear.
Yeah.
Été
Yeah.
swimwear.
But obviously, it starts taking off and starts
Yeah.
expanding. So you can't
Yeah.
be running this all by yourself at a point.
Yeah.
At what point do you start to go, I need to employ people?
How did you set it up as well? Was it like you were the middle person where you would get the orders and then send it there, or did you set up a automation, or was it Instagram?
Yeah.
Because to start off with, you'd find it wouldn't be very efficient, right?
I was
Or-
doing everything myself, and I'm someone who is hyper efficient. People are like, how the F did you do like a month's worth of work in a day?
Yeah.
Like I just get shit done because I don't overthink things. I just get in and get it done. And so I was running everything myself for like the good first 2 years. And then I just hired a VA, which handled all the customer service, all the liaising with warehouses and things like that. But I don't believe in hiring like 50 staff for the sake of it, you know? And so I actually ran it really, really lean right up till the end because we had 3PLs in Hong Kong, USA. So they organized all the warehousing, which was automatically connected to our website, which automatically sent out the tracking emails to the customer.
Yeah.
So all of
It's
that
all
was
automated.
automated.
Yeah.
All someone had to do was buy on the website and then go.
Yeah.
So all I really had to do was designing, very minimal.
So was this
Like-
almost all online? Were you stocking in shopping centres?
Yeah, we were stocked more in the USA.
Okay.
One, because there's bigger brands, bigger businesses with bigger budgets. And two, the USA buy more of the year, whereas Australians buy like November. That's your window.
Yeah.
1 month. Whereas USA, they have like spring break, they have summer, they have rich people going to Europe, you know, like they buy a lot more often.
So they would, if they wanted to put it in their stores,
yeah.
they would just go to you and buy a bigger order than somebody buying one, or is it different?
Yeah, they buy.
Yeah.
So my first major wholesale deal was like $30,000 US
Yeah.
that they ordered worth.
So do you have to pay them to stock your
So the way
line?
wholesale works is they get it for like 50% off,
Wow.
basically. So you've got to make sure you've got your margins, and then they sell it at 100% of the price. So then they make, you know, their cut.
Yeah.
But with a lot of major retailers, they don't pay you until 30 days after.
That sucks.
And
eh?
as a small business, we have to figure out where do we get the money, because we got to pay our manufacturer before they release the goods,
Yeah.
and then we don't get paid till like 30 days later. But if you want to
Wow.
be stocked in these big department stores in the US,
Yeah.
you play by their rules.
So what's the scenario there? Do you get business loans? Do you get investors? What do you do?
Well, luckily, I don't even know how I did it without loans, but
Yeah.
I just had
The
cash flow.
Yeah.
For the first year, it was highly funded by my full-time job, which
Yeah.
was like paying me $40K a year, not much at all.
Yeah.
But, you know, every dollar that came in, I was living at home at the time, so
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
all funneled into my business.
I
Yeah.
think I remember hearing on the news somebody either in swimwear that went bust and kept all the money because they were waiting on that 30 days or 60 days and it fucked them over.
Yeah.
But then they had like went into administration or something, but they didn't pay everyone. They just kept the money themselves and started another brand.
Oh,
Have
right.
you heard about that person?
No, not sure.
Yeah, it was
who that
it
one
was a
is.
chick in the fashion industry in Australia.
Right.
Yeah, I was
So
like,
So when, as you've built this
Yeah.
into it started to take off. It's a global
Yeah.
brand, and it's self-functioning.
Yeah.
Why get rid of it?
Yeah. So, well, fast forward to like 2019, I was running 5 businesses at once.
So you'd been starting
By
other
then.
businesses on the side of your
Yeah.
side
what
hustle.
were they?
whatever.
Tell us about those ones.
Yeah.
And were these inspired by your swimwear, or were they just
Um,
opportunities you saw
yes.
in the market?
Opportunities,
Yeah.
like the flowers. I was like, look, there's something
Yeah.
that I can leverage here. So the second business was called Somewhere Elsewhere, where basically I saw that big brands all over the world were taking influencers on trips. So it was like big beauty brands. They're like, let's all go to the Maldives, and then they would promote the beauty brand, for
Yeah.
example. But I was like, I don't have $500,000
Yeah.
to like fund this kind of marketing promo.
Yeah.
So I thought, let me make it into an agency model where I've worked with influencers globally. I know who's good, who's not good. I'll bring together the best talent.
Nice.
And then I'll sell packages to brands where then we all share the costs for paying the influencers, for the photography, for, you know, the accommodation. We have to pay all of it.
Yeah.
But that way I was like, this is now accessible for other smaller brands. It's now accessible for me, for my brand, and I can use my expertise in that area.
So
like
you would have
yeah.
come across influencers with your swimwear.
Yeah.
I might quickly go on a little tangent here.
Yeah.
Just because you mentioned photography again, and
Yeah.
you said you flew to Melbourne to get a photo shoot. I wanted you to tell us about that.
Yeah.
Because that's such an expense, but it was something that you thought was going to be, you know,
Yeah.
like you couldn't do without, because this one person's so good at their job.
Yeah.
Dealing with the influencers, were they hitting you up, or were you searching for them going, hey, I want you to wear this, or did you pay them to
Oh, I'm
wear it, or did
interested
they
in
get it
this,
free?
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's so
both.
many parasites, man.
Yeah, yeah. Influencers was both. Every single day I'd get a message like, hello, can you give me some free stuff? Like,
So
no.
entitlement.
You know, every single day. And it's like, why, like, give me a proper pitch. Like,
Yeah.
send me info. And these were people, honestly, some of them had like 100 followers. Like,
Yeah.
trying their luck. What is going on? Like, obviously, if they had 100 followers and they did amazing photography,
Yeah.
there's value in that. But these people were just trying their luck. I had like 50 to 100 messages daily
Wow.
that I used to reply to all of them because I was like, oh, let me be nice. And like,
Yeah.
then I just had to stop and
Yeah.
just delete all of them.
I'm really interested in the process here because
Yeah.
we're going through it ourselves. We're trying to get sponsorship,
Yeah.
for example, and I sit here and I Delby, I feel like we're that close,
Yeah.
and I'm doing nothing to get it. I'm not reaching out to like someone
Yeah.
going, hey, here's our analytics.
Yeah.
This is what we can give you.
Yeah.
And then it was the other day, I was just like, why am I not fucking messaging 400 businesses and saying this is what we can offer
Yeah,
you?
it's a numbers game, but also you've got
And
to
I
be
don't know what-
strategic
yeah.
with it
Yeah.
as well.
Exactly,
Yeah.
to a point. But what is the best way for someone to hit someone up in
Yeah.
regard?
Yeah.
Like influencing's a little different, I guess, but like it's the same sort of concept.
Yeah, because I just did my nationwide book tour. I went to Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Perth, and that's expensive
Yeah.
as heck. Like, and what I decided was let me get sponsors on board for this tour, which is going to be a highly niche audience of female entrepreneurs. There's going to be so much value in it. I have a skill set in like content creation as well.
Yeah.
And like, I don't have the biggest audience. I had like 10K followers then.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's still niche. People trust me. There's value in it. And so one thing that I think stops a lot of people from doing outreach is they're like, I'm not big enough yet. I'm not good enough.
Yeah, the perfection breeds
it's,
procrastination.
and it's like seeing the value in what you can provide. Like, what would be valuable to these people? Well, I'm getting professional photographers and videographers at all the events. So we can provide you high-res content for free, basically. Plus, I'll promo it. We'll get everyone tagging you. There's so many ways you can provide value. So it's just thinking about whether I'm negotiating like a biz deal or getting sponsors on board or influencers, whatever it is. It's just thinking about like what's in it for them, but also not assuming. So I would be like, hey, this is what we can do, but you tell me what's valuable for you.
Nice.
And some of them were like, we don't care about the tags, just like the content's great.
Yeah.
Or some of them would be, we don't care about the content, but we want the tags on socials. So it's even just in any negotiation, I always say the person with the most information wins.
Right.
So don't assume anything.
Yeah.
Ask. They'll literally tell you what they want. And then you go, oh, amazing. You want content? Great.
Yeah.
What we can do is we can provide you all this content and then they feel like you heard them.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, shit.
So
they
would
can
you not
actually-
bombard them first? You would go, hey, this is what I'm doing. What would be the most value to you? Or do you go, I've got this, and this?
Yeah, I would still come in with some details
Yeah.
because otherwise people are like too hard. If
Yeah.
people have to think too
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
They're also like, can't be bothered replying because that's just the too hard basket and then they
Yeah.
don't bother.
Yeah.
So I say, hey, what we're going to have is photographer, videographer. We're going to be able to share it on socials. We can even potentially do a giveaway if you want to like put anything in. So I partnered with a hotel and they hosted the event and I stayed there and things and they actually did a giveaway where people signed up to the email database. One of the attendees won a whole amazing weekend stay. So people were like pretty chuffed with that.
Yeah.
But then the venue was like, cool, we've got emails now. That was our KPI that we wanted. And so,
Everyone gets what
we
they
were
wanted.
able to give them what they needed.
Yeah, right. So with the influencers, how did you weed out the trash? Because for me, if someone was like, let's say if I'm a restaurant and you got influencers going, I want to come there for a feed. What I would want is to go, right, show me your last post when you're plugging a business, show me the interaction and show me the dollar value that the restaurant got out of it. Did 10 of these people, can you quantify if your followers are going and doing it, or is it just like, move on?
Yeah. So the way I look at influencer marketing, and I used to actually teach on this, but I don't teach on it as much now, but the way I look at it is there's different kinds of purposes to work with influencers.
Yeah.
Some influencers are going to get you the traction, the sales, the walkthrough, you know, the people coming through.
Yeah.
Like a Kim K would obviously.
Yes.
For
and
fashion.
Kim kind of ticks all the boxes.
I'm using an extreme, obviously, but
But there's like some influencers where their content is ugly.
Yeah.
It's horrendous, but their audience listen to what they say. So like they're the ones driving the sales. Whereas you can also work with influencers where they create epic content. Like of course they're going to tag and like you get a little bit of visibility as well, but they don't have like the drive through.
Yeah.
So their content saves you setting up a whole photo shoot. You know, it's more organic. People love user generated content that's like, hello, here's me at a restaurant. Go and visit.
Yeah.
Then you can use that for your ads. You've now got these assets that didn't cost you as much as it would.
Yeah.
Like, let's say if you're a restaurant, you give them a meal for $30. Whereas if you had to hire a photographer, that's like $2,000. Then you got a model, that's like another $1,000. And then you've got like other people, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's
that
way
makes sense.
cheaper. So it depends on what your goal is. And I always say, bit of all of them is great. But the problem is the people who drive the sales, you never know until that you actually work with them.
Yeah.
And so I see a lot of brands say, all right, we're going to do influencer marketing. They'll work with one or two. They don't get an instant ROI and they stop.
Yeah.
But it's like if you work with one or two influencers, people might see it once.
Yeah.
They're like, cool, whatever. But if you're working with 100 influencers who are talking about it every week and people start to be like, oh, this brand keeps coming up, must be good.
Yeah.
That's where brands like Triangle really popped off because they were just everywhere. Like they gifted so many, and that's what I did in the early days as well, just like gifted to everyone, because then people started to see it all the time and it creates this omnipresence for the brand where it just creates like subconscious trust. It's like everyone is wearing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Is there a way that you use to track your ROI? Would it be like a code using their name, or would it
Yes
be?
and no, because like, I don't know.
pretty
People
tough.
are lazy.
Yeah.
They can't be bothered using the code.
Yeah.
So you can use like tracking links and things like that. But then again, like if someone sees it on an influencer, comes to your website later, signs up to your email database, then you send an email and then they convert from the email. It's like, you never know. So there was only ever a very few people that I would know, oh, they came directly from this influencer, because I was also working with so many all at once.
Yeah.
So it's like when you start getting to that level, it's no longer just like one blip in the whole year. It's like every single day we got people posting about it.
Yes.
But I worked with all different kinds of influencers, and what I found is consumers bought the exact bikini that they were wearing.
Right.
Like people are not as creative as they think they are. Like we are sheep.
Wow.
And so I could tell if they posted on a certain day and we had a spike in that same bikini,
Nice.
then it was from them. Also, I worked with some plus size influencers as well. So then if we had a spike in that bikini and in plus size, then I knew that it was from them.
Wow.
So it was just kind of observing. And
Did you find it valuable then, your experience overall working with Insta influencers? Because I know there was a spike in sort of like consumer trust and people brand trust, and then eventually it got saturated and it went to shit. Where are we at now, and what was your...
So I'm a bit out of the game now, but I'm always like observing things going on in industries. I was an early adopter. So I had some pretty epic people willing to do it for free. One, because they were like, I'm on board with your brand, your messaging and your positioning. So I had people with like 500,000 followers doing it for free.
Wow.
Not all of them were free, but I had some really great people support the brand. But honestly, it's hard now because influencers, rightly so, they create epic content. They're being the photographer, the model, all of that. They need to get paid. But then as a brand, you're down like $5,000 for like one Instagram post. a hard game
Yeah.
to play. And I would see the strategy being more so just like gifting
Yeah.
and like hoping that they use it organically and building a brand that they want to get behind as well. Cause
So not just a one-off, I don't give a fuck, give us the
Yeah.
$5,000.
Yeah.
Something that they really are into.
Yeah.
Because what sort of value does an Instagram follower demand now with someone with 500,000? What sort of money are they asking for? Or does it vary?
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends. American influencers, way more because the brands out there have got way bigger budgets. So
Yeah.
it's like someone with 10,000 followers probably doesn't do a post for less than $5,000.
Wow.
Whereas in
I've
Australia,
got 10,000 followers.
Yeah. Whereas
Give me a bikini.
We've got 100,000 as well.
On
Yeah.
TikTok.
Yeah. Maybe we should start leveraging that a bit.
yeah. But whereas in Australia, brands will pay like $1,000 if you got 100K followers. So
Yeah.
it depends. It depends on the brand. It depends on if they're running a campaign. It depends on, the people.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
So different.
Well, who was your biggest name that you worked with or biggest names?
Yeah, so I worked with Matilda Jerf. She's like
don't know
friends
her.
with Hailey Bieber, like
right.
Sophia Grange. She's like celebrity level
Yeah.
now. But I started working with her when she had like 10,000 followers and we became friends. We actually created a few collections together that were her name co-branded, and she came to Perth and we went to Rottnest and did the photo shoot. And but she's from Sweden. She's really, really epic.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the, what was it, the influencer trade-off, what was I going to ask? Oh, yeah, your photographer in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Was that just someone you saw and you're like, I love this, I'm going to go do it?
Yeah.
That's so cool for that person.
I found that most photographers back then at the time in Perth were like males who did like Sports Illustrated style. So it was like very booby, very like high contrast,
So
like
terrible.
high reflecting.
But yeah.
But it was like not the vibe that
Yeah.
I was trying to go for. Whereas this girl was more like whimsical, bohemian vibes. I was like, she's in Melbourne. I'm just going to fly over there.
Yeah.
I might as well get the trip out of it rather than flying her
Tax
here.
write-off.
Yeah. And so then I just found a model over there and we did the shoot so that the brand had this brand image from day one.
Did you have a certain way, and I guess most brands do, a certain colour tone and everything you do with the photos faded, or you just mentioned you don't like the high contrast.
Yeah.
How do you sort of stop, do you have influencers who now with collab, that would take away from the aesthetic a little bit?
Well, that's where you choose influencers who do your aesthetic. But then I also had a brief. I was like, please no black backgrounds, like just not the vibe. We just stick with like white. I didn't even make black bikinis for a long time just because I was like, it's not the vibe we're going for. So you can give them a bit of a brief, but I never told them exactly what to do. I was just like,
It's just so interesting,
black.
man. And then with your influencer business, before we get on to the other three, so you've met your stable. You're like a pimp of influencers. You've got your stable of influencers. You decided to pay, like, did you say you bought packages? You created packages for companies to purchase?
Yeah.
So you would like liaise with a hotel, liaise with a flight company, maybe liaise with someone that's doing activities there. How does or a photographer or what's that?
Well, we did. So
That's
I
such
did
a smart idea.
I did a few in Bali. Flight companies are really hard. They don't really collab.
Yeah.
But hotels, things. So we partnered with the Marriott Group in Fiji,
Yeah,
and they
cool.
took us to like 3 of their resorts. But that's great to keep costs low.
Yeah.
But they don't usually want to pay because they're like giving you the whole accommodation situation. So we had other brands, like other fashion brands or other accessories or like jewelry or, whatever complimentary kind of products or offerings that were.
Because, I mean, by human nature, we are lazy and we want the easiest thing. So if you've gone to, let's just say Rusty, for example, because they sponsor the Reapers, or Kahuna Golf because they sponsor us.
Yes.
Kahuna Golf want to do a golf shoot. We could have come to you. You could have been like, yep, we're going to fly you to this golf course in Bali. While you're there, we're going to have this golf club set, Kahuna's fashion, all of that for this price. And Kahuna wouldn't have to think. They just go, cool, we'll pay you. You chuck in your margins and everyone's happy.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
smart. So simple, but like, were you one of the first
So Kahuna
doing
listening up.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's doing it still.
Wow.
Like no one's built like an agency model out of that. Like there's a lot of influencer management agencies that will take their influencers or their talent on a vacation.
Together,
and they might pull together something like that. But I was just just the
Hectic,
trips
yeah.
was like the deal.
The management side of things with my businesses. So I've
Yeah.
got like quiz company, stand-up comedy, MC, corporate work.
Yeah.
What else I do? Teacher comedy. I've got all these different like umbrellas that I do. The hardest part for me is the management.
Yeah.
And I'm currently trying to find. Well, I found a personal assistant, but you said you had a VA.
Yeah.
Were they the Philippines VAs, or was that someone here? And
Yeah.
how did you? That's my biggest. I'm kind of scared or feared to, because I don't know what they can do, and
Yeah.
I don't like losing that control. That's
Yeah.
the hardest part.
I think so many entrepreneurs, we're control freaks.
Yeah.
This is why we're in business. We're like, I want to do what I want when I want to do it
Yeah.
and how I want to do it.
Yes.
And then when we start to bring in other people,
Yeah, it's fucking
it's
scary.
hard to
Yeah.
let go of control because we're like, it has to be done my way. Also, I find entrepreneurs, we have high standards.
Yeah.
And like, we're like, well, I can do 50 things in a day. Why can't you do 50 things
Yes, that's
as
where
fast
I'm
as
at.
I can?
Yes.
And to my standard.
Yeah.
And then we're just forever disappointed firing people left, right, and center. And
Yeah.
so I went through quite a few different VAs, but I found one incredible VA. She's in the Philippines. She still works with me actually after like 6-7 years.
Wow.
And she basically runs my whole coaching personal brand business
Cool.
now. Like
Yeah.
she's
Wow.
doing the stuff while I'm out here, you know?
Yeah.
So how do you let go of that control?
Yeah.
Over time,
Yeah.
building trust. So I like to throw them in the deep end and I'm like, are you going to swim or not?
Yeah.
Which
In a nice swimsuit,
is-
obviously.
yeah.
which is not everyone's preferred management style. So
Yeah.
I'm like, if you can't work with me in that way, we're not going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
One, and I'm not here to baby someone. I just don't have the time or the patience. So
Yeah.
the way that I trained them up and also test, can you swim, is I'll be like, cool. Read through all the emails that I've sent. Like if I started them on customer service, read through all the emails I've sent in the past year
Yeah.
or the past month, depends on the quantity of emails.
Yep.
Now you write me a process document. Tell me, what are the frequently asked questions? How do I answer it? Can you make a template for the response that I would normally do? How do we
Nice.
problem solve this? You train yourself,
Yeah.
write the process document, and then I can see where you don't understand things correctly.
Yeah.
Pretty smart.
Whereas traditional way of training is, let me show you everything, spend friggin' hours telling them the answer to everything.
Yeah.
They say, yes, I understand.
Yeah.
And then you're like, great, you understand. You go away and they F everything up.
Yeah.
So I trained them like that. Even now, I'm like, right, one, it's also because I don't have time.
Yeah.
So that's the other reason why a lot of entrepreneurs don't hire people, because they're like, I don't have time for training.
Yeah.
Because now they're doing it twice, the job. So I just say, you know, what is it called? Ghosting? It's
Yeah.
not ghosting, is it?
Yeah.
Ghosting when you
leave
watch-
them and leave them.
Yes, I do that. But like, what's it called when
Leave
you
'em
get
on
them to
red.
watch you, what you're doing?
Oh, shadowing.
Shadowing.
Shadowing,
Yeah.
not ghosting.
Yeah.
Shadowing.
Shadowing.
Yeah.
Shadowing's what the government do. Ghosting's what my ex-girlfriends do.
So I would just get them to shadow me,
Yeah.
and I'd be like, write down everything I'm doing.
Right.
You write the process. We'll record it on Zoom. You can then rewatch it. You write the process doc,
Yeah.
and then if there's some big mistakes, I'm like, one, why did you think this was
Yeah.
the way to do it?
So you work with them a little bit. You
Yeah,
won't just
yeah.
be like, nah, no good.
Oh, yeah.
You give
Yeah.
them wiggle room and go, okay,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is where you made the mistake. Let's
Yeah.
fix this. And then
So
yeah.
I'll look at it and then I can say, you nailed this part. We
Yeah.
don't need to waste time training you on that
Nice.
now.
Yeah.
The other part's great. There's a little bit of misunderstanding. One, why was there a misunderstanding? Because if we are not communicating the same language, then I need to change the way I communicate, or
Yeah.
you need to change the way you listen.
Yeah.
So we need to look at that, or you just need more education around that. And
Yeah.
so really what helped me build trust was this amazing VA that I had, Chen. She just swam
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
And even once when I was setting up my whole USA warehouse, at the time she was actually working night shift for another job that she had.
Yeah.
So she was like, I'll do your work at night as well, because I can't be awake in the day and
Yeah.
the night.
Yeah.
So she was doing my work during the night, and we were trying to set up our 3PL in the USA. And I was so burnt out by that point. I was like, I can't be awake in my day and
Yeah.
the night to set up this 3PL.
What's 3PL? Sorry?
Oh, so 3PL is I don't even know what it stands for, but it means like a warehouse
Right.
that you haven't had to buy.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm going to rent space in the warehouse. They have all the tech,
Yeah.
all the systems. So
Yeah.
you rent a warehouse.
Yep.
So I was like, we need to set it up. We need to get all the stuff in the system. I don't know. It's very tech heavy.
Yeah.
There's no point me training myself on how do we set it up
Yeah.
through this new platform, and then I'll train her. Right, see what you can do in the night, and I'll see you in the morning. And by the morning, I had a message, good night, Jess, I'm going to bed. I've set up the whole thing, the whole warehouse in one night.
That's
and I was
awesome.
like, everything is coming through our website. The orders are being sent out already. And I was like, I can trust you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
nothing. And so that built my trust. And so I gave her more and more tasks. And then when I sold my other companies, she stayed with me and she's like my personal assistant / running my company, doing my website, doing my graphics. Like,
Does she get good bonuses each year? Or
yeah, she does get some good bonuses. So it's been really cool to do that though as well, because she's in the Philippines. I can pay her well and truly above what they normally get.
Yeah.
So her husband's been able to quit his job. They get to stay home with their son.
Oh, awesome.
She's now built her own like VA agency on the side, where she's now, you know, getting a cut from
That's
the
wicked.
staff. She's also now paying them more than they'd get elsewhere. And so she's got like 10 people. She's changing their lives. I'm helping her with that. And so like, it's really cool to be able to do that.
So
Yeah.
how
What
much-
would the AI question be? How do you let go of running your own business? How do you put trust in other people to run your business?
Yeah.
We can clip that.
Yeah, put it at the front.
But with your process, did you find holes in your own strategies because someone's shadowing you and they
Oh, yeah.
like there's big gaps missing you, and have you gone, oh fuck, actually
You're better at this
I
than
can
me.
do this a different way?
No.
No.
Oh.
What if I say
perfection.
I'm just the best at
Yeah.
everything?
Yeah.
Potentially. Yeah.
So
But I
has
do
it freed
things
you up?
in unique ways where I'm just like, this is the best way. We're going to make it up. It's
Yep.
going to be lean. It's going to be easy. It's going to be pretty straightforward. But yeah, it has freed me up.
And,
Yeah.
and more the question that I'm getting at is, do you like being freed up, or
Yeah.
is it being on is part of that drive for you?
Yeah.
Being on is great, but through my journey, like 2019, I hit max burnout and I realized that something seriously had to change. One, it was my mindset. I was driven by a lot of anxiety, just like racing to the finish, and so wasn't looking after myself at all. So that sparked like this whole journey where then I went on, okay, I actually need some boundaries and I need to look after myself first and I need to not do everything. So that's when I started to sell my businesses. 2019, I exited the others, which the other one was a events photo shoot venue. So it was like a warehouse venue. People could rent it out for events and photo
Is that
shoots.
where they come in, there's a code, they go in.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's pretty smart.
So that was pretty lean as well. Like we had it automated. They let themselves in. We had a cleaner come in.
Yeah.
Unless something seriously, like someone punched a hole through the door, then I had to go down and solve it. But that was pretty lean. And then I was also doing a bit of photography on the side because by then I'd trained myself up in that.
And
Because
you
I was
love
like,
that, I guess.
I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then I was also doing my coaching and mentoring at the same time.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, I need to just stop. So I stopped the travel trips because that was like started 2020 anyway.
yeah. Yeah.
And so then I exited the photo shoot venue because I was like, I just can't. It's just a lot. I have to go down there, solve problems. It's so annoying.
How do you saying you exited and you stopped it, but how do you sell a business?
Yeah.
'Cause
So
that's-
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I asked my accountant, selling a local business is easy.
Yeah.
I just put it up in a Facebook group. Who wants to buy this? Great. You want to take it on? Here's the Instagram account. Done.
And did you value it or did you just take bids or?
I just took what I could
Yeah.
at that stage because I was like, get me out, you know. But I was like, well, this is quite valuable because bringing in this much per month, I'm giving you straight up that minimum income.
Yeah.
And so I sold it. And then the travel business just stopped.
Yeah.
The photography, I was like, right, I'll just stop doing that on the side as
Yeah.
well. But then the swimwear brand is a global company.
Yeah.
This is a challenge because most of my audience and customers were in the USA. So a lot of the buyers that were coming through and interested in it were either in Dubai and they were like tech dudes who wanted me to stay on. And I was like, I don't want anything to do with
Yeah.
it. If I'm like selling it, I'm out.
Yeah.
And then people from America, but then I was like, how do I transfer the ownership internationally? I have an Australian company.
Yeah.
But then I work through with my accountant. There's different ways you can sell a company.
Yeah. Right.
And so I just sold the assets.
So how otherwise? Because this intrigues me and this also gives me anxiety.
Yeah.
I had a shirtless waitering company when I was in uni. And just to even get rid of that, it was so like I had to transfer the website. I had to let them know how I was getting jobs.
Yeah.
And it ended up they lost, like it's out of business now.
Yeah.
But even valuing it, it was like, so how did you go
Yeah.
about selling your business? That's
Again, valuing it is difficult because you can value it based on a multiplier of your income. But the multipliers range from like 2 times to 10 times to 0.2 times. Like there's so many. What is the number?
Yeah.
You know, no one knows. So the other way you can value it is based on the assets.
Right.
So I looked at, okay, I've got X dollars worth of photos and high res photography. I've got X dollars worth of stock that you don't have to buy. I've got a brand that's trademarked, you know, globally.
Yeah.
And so I added up all the assets and the intangible assets.
would that
of
be
the
Instagram account? Would be
Yeah,
an
the
intangible,
Instagram.
like the followers and the reputation
followers,
and
for sure.
And the potential growth, would
Yeah.
that factor in as well?
Yeah, so it's just kind of like you make up a number because
Yeah.
really at the end of the day, it's like how much someone is willing to pay for it
Yeah.
is the price.
Yeah.
And so I had a lot of tech dudes wanting to buy it, you know, throwing a ton of money, but they all needed me to stay on, and I was like, I just can't be on when someone else owns my business and tell me what to do.
yeah.
I was not
Yeah.
keen for
doesn't
that.
make sense. Yeah.
And I was like, I need to get out. Like, I'm not here to still have one foot in the door. So I found a couple. They were in San Francisco. They were like, our dream has been to build a global, you know, fashion brand or beachwear brand. And so they had the passion for it. And that was something that was meaningful to me because I was like, I just built this whole thing for 5 years. Like, my chapter is done with it. I've lost the passion for it, but I want to give it to someone else. There's no point just closing it down. Like, it's got guaranteed income every single month.
Yeah.
And on your interview, that was like 80 grand a month or something. Was that right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, actually, that's my personal brand. But yeah,
Yeah.
the swimwear brand was beyond that because
Wow.
we had major retailers doing like 10 to 30K minimum per month.
Wow.
Just through
And is
them.
that just total revenue and then the profits?
Yeah.
What margins were
Yeah.
you working at?
Well, on the product alone, you work on like 75% margin
Nice.
because if you're selling at 50%, then you're left with 25%.
Yep.
But then there's, of course, like all the other costs like marketing and all of that. So, but then
The
selling.
San Francisco people,
Yeah.
were they minted and they've come in to do it? Or
Yeah,
were they
so they were really great. I was like, you're passionate. This guy, he had worked for, you know, all the tech startups like Facebook. He worked in marketing. And I was like, great, you've got, you know, what you're talking about. But then when we were doing the handover, I was like, I'm not staying on. One, I'm going to give you 4 hours of handover because I already had all the systems and process. Everything was in a document.
Yeah.
Like everything was there. How to run it was like a whole manual.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm doing 4 hours of handover and then I'm out.
Yeah.
That's it. The negotiation was that.
Yeah.
5 years for 4
Yeah,
hours.
exactly.
Talk about efficiency, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, you choose what you want and then
Yeah.
whether someone says yes or no, that's the answer. But
Because would the other alternative be like, all right, you got 4 hours of handover, everything you need, I'm just going to bill you at my billable hours?
yeah,
To-
exactly.
yeah, nice.
So that was that. But when I was starting to do the handover, I was like, oh shit, they really don't have a clue what they're doing. One, he couldn't figure out the escrow account. So he kept like setting up new escrow accounts, which is like the holding account for the money
Yeah.
when you do the sale. He took like a good 2 to 4 weeks to literally deposit the money in the escrow account.
Wow.
So the website was
For
off.
you or
Yeah,
for
for me.
Wow.
So they were losing money. The
Yeah.
website, I turned the website off. I was like, not my problem anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were losing so much money.
Yeah.
And was this already signed that you've
Yeah.
done the sale?
Yeah.
Right.
The date
Yeah.
was done. I was
Done.
like, the website closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not opening it up again because I'm not shipping out goods,
Yeah.
you know, from my end.
Yeah.
So, but then the other thing is when I was doing the handover, I was like, yep, I send about 2 EDMs a week. And anyone in marketing or business.
Electronic digital marketing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like an email
Emails,
newsletter.
yeah.
But he was like, what's an EDM? And I was like, oh.
No.
I had to ask that for about 5 years ago. They were like, we're doing EDMs. I'm like, electronic dance music? Like, what is
But
this?
like if you work in marketing,
Yeah.
you probably should know
Yeah.
what that is. But anyway, but I was like, cool, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to give them everything, which I did on a silver platter and let go.
Yeah.
Like they didn't send one. I handed them a database of tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
They didn't send one email for the whole first year because I was still subscribed.
Wow.
Not one email. That's a lot of money down the
Did
drain.
they
Just
hire a marketing person or?
No, I think they just
Oh my
tried their
gosh.
best and then I haven't even looked because I don't want to look.
Oh,
So
but
the
I'm
brand
assuming-
just stopped.
I think it's just stopped. Yeah.
And you just don't, you're like, if I don't look at it, I don't know.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's kind of like when you go through a breakup. You're like, when you're in it, you're like, get me out. And then when I was signing a contract, I was like, oh, but all the good times. But then when you're out, you're like, I don't need to see you again.
Release.
That's how I felt
You know?
about, I literally had this exact feeling when I auditioned for Big Brother. I got down to the last 5 people and 3 got in. So I just couldn't watch the show.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm done with
yeah.
you. I can't watch it. I'm too jealous. I don't want to know. I'm out. Like, goodbye. Yeah, don't want to see it. So
Don't need to spend energy on
Yeah.
it. So, yeah, that's kind of how
well, that's
that
kind of
went.
sad. That's something you've built up, and obviously your followers and people that enjoyed the swimwear
Yeah.
have just lost out. But
Yeah.
But don't you look at it as a step along the journey? Like,
Yeah, like some people like, oh, doesn't it feel like a failure? Like, no,
no
not
way,
really,
no.
you know, no.
You've had 5 years of awesome
Exactly.
success. You've made your
And,
money
like,
from
I
it. You
did
sold
what I
it.
wanted to with it. I reached the goals that I wanted to, and then I had a new passion, which was like my coaching, mentoring.
Yeah,
you know,
same.
Yeah.
sharing with other entrepreneurs how to do this
Yeah.
as well.
I love this side of things.
So yeah, before and potentially you touch on this with your
Yeah.
mentoring and coaching because you're experienced in it. So a bit more personal side.
Yeah.
So obviously being such a busy lifestyle,
Yeah.
businesswoman, a woman as well.
Yeah.
Who-
She's going to have to invoice us for 10
Yeah.
grand just for this pod.
Yeah.
I'm interested because I don't know if you have a partner or kids.
Yeah.
Especially
I have a partner.
Okay, you have
No
a partner.
kids.
No, so the kids, that becomes a factor in, I guess, I don't know if you want to have a kids, but where does this whole balance of like trying to meet people, friends, lifestyle, that is important, especially as a younger person. You're doing this through your 20s
Yeah.
to get to where you are.
Yeah.
Like, what do you recommend? Because I've certainly seen the worst end on my part for trying to build a business on the
Yeah.
side and the balance side. So
Yeah.
what do you recommend and what was your experience?
Yeah, so this is something that I build into everything I do. And when you guys dive into the book a bit more, like it's through my whole ethos now is building a business for life, because we're not just here to build a business right now. It's like, don't wait until you hit a certain level of success and then give yourself permission to take your foot off the pedal and like enjoy life, because guess what, when you're now making millions, you're gonna be like, oh shit, now I gotta hold on tighter.
Yeah.
I gotta like be more serious because there's more at stake. So
Yeah.
I actually think, one, it hugely stems from mindset, and we live in a society that is built on hard work equals success.
Yeah.
And we all have that belief deeply ingrained in us, particularly for our generation. We've witnessed our parents
Yeah.
work hard to just get by, or, you know, to
Yeah.
build what
And they've had
built.
a local work opportunity.
Yeah.
They haven't had the opportunity to
No.
expand outside. So
Yeah.
hard work was success.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's more probably smart work
Yes.
is success. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually make most of my money when I'm traveling or just like
Wow.
go on the beach. I'm like, oh shit, money drops in. And so my team now joke with me.
Imagine that.
My team now joke with me. They're like, Jess, you need to go to the beach more often.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
book a few more holidays because it just, but it's like, there's so much psychology behind the idea of hard work equals success.
Yeah.
There's also the deep beliefs that if success is easy, we're not as deserving of it.
Yeah.
You know, if people are like, oh, how's your business going? What do we say? We say, oh, it's busy. Oh, it's really hard this week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And people are like, oh, you're making tons of money? Yeah, but, I worked so hard for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like justifying.
Yeah, imagine if we're just like, oh, I made $1 million today. That was so easy. Look at me go.
I
Yeah.
couldn't let
people
go of
hate
that.
it.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah.
let go of it recently with like podcast stuff and monetization, and started to not even that, just with the business. And Delby was going through that with his celebrant stuff, like
Yeah.
upping your prices and
Yeah.
almost that imposter syndrome of like, I find this easy now, so I feel like I shouldn't be charging that because it's
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
But for someone else to do it, it's not.
Yeah.
And also like it's the value you're providing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that mindset is so interesting because I'm like, if I haven't got much on, I'm like, fuck, I'm not working hard enough.
Yeah.
But then I have to remind myself, well, I quit teaching so I can
Yeah.
Yeah.
do less.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, oh fuck, like I should be focusing more on this or writing more
Yeah.
material, and
And a
you
lot of
beat
it's
yourself up.
driven by like this scarcity mindset. Like when we start a business, we're like, well, we got no clients, right? So then we're like, let me work a bit harder. And there are going to definitely be seasons where we need to push a little bit harder, but it's like, let's not sacrifice everything along the way. But it's really taking note of where the scarcity is playing out. Because we say, oh shit, I don't have any clients. Or if we have a gap in our time, we're like, I can fill it
Yes.
with more.
Oh yes, definitely feel
Yeah.
that one. Yep.
And then when we start to create more success, and let's say we have a full register of clients, we got some money coming in, then we say, I better continue this pace because what if it won't last forever?
Yeah.
What if I lose clients? And then we get stuck. So I actually believe most of the time burnout and like stress is created by ourselves based on the beliefs. So I actually ended up there. But then I had to look internally and be like, what beliefs are playing out for me? For me, it was the fear of someone's going to beat me to it. So I got to do it faster and harder and bigger and better, faster. And so there was like this fear that someone was going to steal my idea.
Yeah.
And so I was hustling and hustling. There was also a lot of scarcity playing out for me where I was like, oh shit, never have enough, right? Never have enough money. Let me work harder and be more. Let me start more businesses because that's going to be the key.
Yeah.
But then I was spreading my energy so thin across everything. So now for me, I'm not short on ideas. I don't think any entrepreneurs are short on ideas. But for me now, I'm like, is this idea going to add to or take away from my purpose and where I'm actually going? And so I can remain laser focused, put my energy into the things that truly matter and scale that way. And then I actually have the freedom. And the way that I got over the fear, like you said, oh, I've got some free time. Let me work a bit harder.
Yeah.
I actually set boundaries. I was like, this is reserved for relaxing.
Yeah.
This time in my calendar is reserved for going to the beach. Or like, so I booked it in my calendar. And now I've like rewired my belief system where I don't find myself. I'm like, cool, I'm chilling on the couch at 7 a.m. doing whatever I want to do. But then I also know when to work. But if you're in that phase of I feel every moment, or it's like you feel that level of guilt if you're like, cool, I'm chilling today. I started with like
guilt,
a Feel Good Friday. And I was like, Feel Good Friday, one whole day just to reset. And I found one day was better than like 1 hour on another day because you just like whatever. The 1 hour doesn't matter. So I went to almost the extreme to rewire my belief system. And those Fridays were actually the most abundant days ever, you know?
I've got mung out Mondays lately. Just a muddle mess. But,
I certainly think I needed to hear that. I feel like you needed to hear
it's a
that
perfect,
as well.
perfect message at the time that I'm at.
I
actually booked in next weekend after next off Friday, nothing Saturday, just to free myself up to do what I want.
You're working like 7 days a week.
Yeah. And all my jobs are nighttime. So with comedy quizzes, like MC stuff, all of it's like, my day starts sort of 6 and then I'm up till 12. So I feel guilty in the daytime because I'm doing lots of admin and all that sort of shit. But it's, it's this weird guilt. And I got to remind myself, no, I'm fucking actually working at night. But because I enjoy it, I really like it, it's not so much a grind. You know?
I definitely felt the spread thin thing. Even this morning, I woke up at 6:30. And for listeners, I get up at 4:50. That's my thing. And I felt an hour and a half behind and I started beating myself up. And then I had to change and go, right, well, let's just redirect what I'm doing today. I can't change it. And some of those times where I feel like I should be doing something, I've started scheduling in golf. Because I don't have my phone when I play golf. I put it away. I don't fucking talk to anyone. I like that's my time. If you do 18 holes, it's 4 hours of just me. And that's what golf's become for me.
So good.
And I had in my head prior to that, golf is a luxury. I shouldn't be doing that. That's taking away. I should be working right now. And now it's become, no, that's scheduled in. You need it. Otherwise, tomorrow you're not going to be at your best.
Exactly. And those thoughts always come in like, you shouldn't be doing golf. You should be working.
Correct.
Yes.
Because basically it's like our subconscious being like, hey, mate, you're unsafe right now. And it's because it's running on the belief system that if you're not working, you're going to lose something. Lose money, lose clients, lose whatever it is. And so then we double down on the control and we're like, let me hold even tighter. Let me make sure I never have a break. But if you have it scheduled in your calendar, and I just found that was a good mindset shift. It was scheduled in. It was like the thought would come in, you should be working right now. And I'd be like, no, but it's scheduled. I also have the work part scheduled. So I was like, cool, I know the work is there. It's got its own time. Right now it's rest time. And then instantly the belief the fear went away
Yeah.
and I could actually relax.
And I guess you can rewire your mindset to think, well, I'm going to work better if I schedule this rest in.
Yes.
It's going to improve my output for when I am working. So if you can turn your negative into a positive, I'm sure we all work better on
I'll put it
positive
on my to-do
reinforcement.
list.
Yeah.
Put it on the to-do
Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
Every day.
For
Like,
sure.
all right, 30 minutes of rest. Feel
Yeah.
like I'm ticking a box.
Love
Feels like I'm
that.
actually achieving something. Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Would you consider yourself a people pleaser? And second part, because I feel I can hear almost direct parallels between my brain and yours. Have
Yeah.
you been diagnosed with ADHD or anything like that? I don't really believe in ADHD, even though I am diagnosed.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a negative. I think it's
Superpower.
superpower for me.
Superpower.
If it is even real,
Yeah.
So
I think I do have it, but I'm like, what's the point in getting diagnosed?
Yeah.
Because one, I'm not going to take medication because I actually thrive.
Yeah.
It's working out for me. So I do think I have it, but haven't got diagnosed.
Yeah.
So I think it's a huge superpower. For some people, it affects them all in different ways. So, everyone's on their own journey with that.
A little bit of a spectrum ADHD
Yeah.
vibe.
Yeah.
What about being a people pleaser? Because with my job as a celebrant, if I've put that day off, and people are like, I really want you, like it's either you or no one. I'm like, oh, look, I can do that. I'll do that for you because it's really important. And I sort of, too often, even if I have Friday night off, I'm like, you need me to do a spot? Yeah, okay, look, I can come and do that for you,
Yeah. So I actually have like a whole section in my book called like, I'm a nice girl.
Yeah.
And like, maybe you're a nice girl too.
I am such a nice girl.
You're a nice girl. But I definitely was the nice girl. I was like, oh, you can't do that date. I'll wake up at 3 a.m. to do the meeting. No worries,
Yeah.
I would just bend my boundaries. If someone was like, oh, sounds a bit expensive, I'll be like, cool, I'll give you a $5,000 discount. No worries. Just jumping at every bit. And I think a lot of it stems from our desire to be liked.
Yeah.
Well, for me at least. And all through childhood and high school, and just as human beings, we want to fit in, we want to be liked and accepted. And so it was only when I became comfortable with not being liked that I stopped being a nice girl.
Yeah.
And so I had to really start to identify, one, what is the actual thing that I'm most afraid of someone calling me or seeing me as? And so for me, it was like, oh, Jess, you're a bitch or you're arrogant. Yeah. So when I identified those two things, that I was like, I'm being this nice girl so that someone doesn't see me as arrogant. Like I'm not doing that time, or, I'm more important than you, or whatever way they might want to read it, that I could actually say, I accept those parts of me. Yeah. Like I actually love the part of me that could be seen as a bitch or arrogant, because it means I'm being assertive. Yeah. I'm putting my needs first. And when I owned that, then I was like, if they want to cry and throw a tantrum about me respecting my own boundaries, doesn't hurt me. Because it's okay.
Being a man, if I was to be assertive and strong, people would be like, yeah, you are assertive.
It's toxic masculinity though.
No, but they wouldn't see it as a toxic trait. They'd be like, he's someone who's driven and trying to get something.
So if a man delivered something the same way a woman in business delivered it.
Yeah, so and that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So if it's a woman delivering it, it comes across as this, she's a boss bitch. Fucking,
she's a bit demanding.
Exactly. So how do you deal with those sort of, I guess,
accept it and turn it into a positive.
Yeah. So a lot of people say just be okay with it. Be comfortable with being seen as a bitch or arrogant. But I actually think we need to love it, almost desire it. Like I'm not out here trying to be arrogant and bitchy all the time, or hurt anyone else. But if I'm so okay and almost excited if someone sees me as that, then it's no longer a fear. Yeah. It's just this is a reassurance that I'm standing in my power. Yeah. And that gets to be okay as well. Yeah. And so we almost have to go the far extreme the other way to rewire our brain to create this level of deep safety. Yeah. Because if someone said, oh, you're lovely, it's thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah. But oh, you're a bitch. Oh shit, that's a problem. So it's oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. I've been doing that with my prices lately, my mindset. I'll do the price, and if they go, oh, it's a bit too much, you go, okay, no problem. Here's some other people that can do it.
It's so celebrate the heck out. Yes, I'm too expensive. That means I'm charging the right price. Because if you're a good price for everyone, you're definitely too cheap.
Yeah. And then the biggest realizations is I did a MC gig for Flame Trees Wines, and I did it last year, and they were like, they want you back. It doesn't matter what it costs, and they sent me like a pretty decent pay, and I'm like, all right, cool. This is justification that not everybody can get up and do what I do, which is weird because the skill I have is not fucking welding, and it's not putting a ship together. It's using my mouth without sucking dick and my brain, which is...
And because you find it easy.
I find it so easy. Yeah. It's like a super simple, happy place for me. And it's this quite expensive outlay for people to spend, which is leading into my next question for you. As a coach, isn't it that same mindset? Like, how can I charge X amount when I'm just sort of like giving advice? You know, I guess lawyers do it professionally, but when it's, I really don't like the term life coach because we haven't lived a life yet, but like business coach or action coach or whatever it is. How did you transition into valuing yourself and getting your first client and going from there, which I think leads more into what this is saying?
Yeah. So when I first started coaching, I charged like $100. I was like, cool, I'll get on a call with you, $100, let's do it, let's go. But then I started attracting like nightmare clients. Like they were always the clients that were like hitting you up at 3 a.m, like having a tantrum if you didn't reply or, you know, just an absolute nightmare. And I could have very well taken that as evidence of I'm not good enough because these clients are not happy. But I've found the higher the price, like I have clients now coming in my world paying like $54K.
Wow.
Pay in full, like at once.
Is that, how long's that? You're like 1 hour. Is that like a course?
That's
is that
like a year of like my highest level. Like I have some $48 you know, ways to work with me or get into my courses and things like that. But like those clients are just like, cool, done, it's paid, let's go. They respect the hell out of you so much more. So I'm actually really passionate about helping people shift into their high ticket leader. So like into those higher leadership prices. But the biggest part for that is the mindset in realizing like, okay, it might be easy for me, but it's not easy for everyone else. And once we can start to see that value and even just play with the pricing, I wouldn't suggest like if I was charging $100, I wouldn't advise my past self to be like, cool, now it's 50K, you know, but you increase it over time. You get one person like your Flame Trees Wines who's like, cool, we're going to pay this. And you're like, oh shit. That was easy. People are so happy to pay that. And then you build the evidence and the confidence. You're like, oh, okay, people now pay this. This is my price. And so you can continue to increase it from there. But there is this push and pull of, you don't want to price yourself way above your actual skill set because then it creates a huge level of imposter syndrome. And so it's really about meeting yourself where you're at, but stretching yourself a little bit. It's like, oh, $1,000 feels cheap and easy. That would be so easy for me to go out with, but why not 1,500? Like feels a little bit stretchy, but still I'm not so dysregulated that I'm going to self-sabotage the shit out of it. Because that's where I see people say, cool, my price is now 10 grand. And then they're like, oh my gosh, why don't I have clients yet? And they're stressing. And then they're like self-sabotaging in a way where they're not even marketing. They're like, I know I should email this client back, but I'm not emailing them because if I do, then they're going to say yes. And then I've got to charge them 10K. And then I've got the pressure and the expectations that I put on myself to deliver at 10K. And so that's why I'm so passionate about mindset because when we upgrade who we are, it's like, of course I'm charging 10K. It's just who I am.
It's what the value you get. I know that it's worth it. I know that you're going to benefit from it. And that's always the hardest part.
You're always hypercritical of yourself, aren't you? You find like the tiniest little deficiency and you escalate it in your mind. I was the same with the social media stuff. Like I was like, I'm not going to charge more because I'm not giving enough value. That's what I felt. And now I look at anyone who's replaced me in the last 6 months of me getting rid of my social media.
And you're like, clients, I should have charged 5 times more.
Mate, I look at some of them. I've had people messaging me going, who's doing their social media now? What's happened? And I realised, fuck, I was very good at it. I should have actually valued myself.
And we don't see it because like back in caveman days, our brains are hardwired to look for the threats. And so that's why we are so critical of ourselves and it comes so naturally. Like if I said, what's everything wrong with what you do right now? You'd probably list off a bunch. But if I was like, why are you the best? like sometimes we might be able to list one or two, but then they're like, oh, actually, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we actually have to really build that muscle. It's like going to the gym. You don't walk in and lift like 100 kilos the first time ever in a gym. You're in there lifting 5 kilos and then 10 and then 20 and building up from there. So I love practices like journaling and actually looking for all of the reasons why you're the best.
Yeah.
Like, why are you epic at what you do? Whether it's testimonials, whether it's just acknowledging, oh shit, I've actually had like 10 years experience at this, or I've created these results. You know, so looking for that is hard, but it's the only way we can rewire and start to actually see that within ourselves.
What's your best advice for journaling? Do you journal a specific way? Do you make sure that it's a positive journal? Do you have a different intention? So what's your best method of journaling?
Yeah. Now this is going to sound counterintuitive, but I do not journal daily.
Yeah.
I just don't. I journal when I'm going through big transition periods or rewiring my brain or like overcoming a challenge. And I sort of use it as more of a tool in those times. And in my book, actually, pretty much every single chapter has specific journal prompts in there.
Oh, cool.
Because when you are going through, let's say I was like, cool, let's double your price tomorrow.
Yep.
And you're like, holy shit, I don't know about that.
I need to work through this.
Yeah. Then there's going to be journal prompts around like your value, around your money mindset, around the fears that you're attaching to it. And so it's really going to be so specific depending on your goal, what you're trying to do at the time.
Would you look back on it, or is it just something to get those thoughts out of here into a physical format so they're just actually being written down and not bobbling around in the ethos of your brain?
I don't usually look back on my journaling just because I'm like, it's done. I've transcended that. I've overcome that. But every now and then I'll flick back and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This time last year, like I actually looked June or July 2022 or something. I wrote in my journal, I have no sales. I feel a bit shit, blah, blah, blah. The timestamp on it, 1 week later, I had my first 78K cash week. And so it's like mind blowing. But what that gave me was the evidence of when there's a dip, when shit feels hard, it is right before that level up. And it sounds like such a cliche quote, but when we forget. I forgot that I felt shit. I just remember, great, I made 78K, you know. But when we can look at the evidence, we're like, well, no wonder it feels shitty right now because I'm about to come into some pretty cool stuff. So that
happened to me exactly when I upped my prices by I think $1,000 for myself, and I had no sales for 3 months. And I was like, oh, I think I even said to Branch, I was like, I think I'll just drop it back down. And then I made my first sale, and within 2 days, another sale. And then that week I had 3 or 4 booked in. So it's weird how that
always the way. And my clients, because I work with a lot of my clients, I'm like, right, let's level up everything. Let's push through. And it stretches them the hell out of their comfort zone. And then they go through this period where they're like, Jess, I think you're bullshitting me. I don't see nothing happening. Now I feel like everything's gone to shit. You know, no one's buying. And I'm like, no, it's coming because we have got the strategies in place. We're doing the work. And then they always have their best income months ever. But it takes that discomfort period. And what I actually always say to people is the discomfort is almost like the universe being like, are you sure you want this? Are you sure you want this? And so we can either take it as evidence that we should put our price back down, stay in our comfort zone, but you're going to stay there forever, aren't you? Or
do you listen to our podcast? Said what we've said for the last 3 years.
Or it's going to prove that you're worth it.
It's going to be like the time when you go to the gym, right? It's like, cool, now I'm going to lift 50 kilos. It's going to hurt a shit ton. But now I'm going to be pretty strong. I've built my resilience because that next level self is going to have to take a whole lot more rejections because at $1,000 more, you're going to get a whole lot more people telling you
so many say no.
It is too expensive. But you know now.
Yeah, the people that I get are the ones that I want to work with as well. You know,
and you're equipped with the evidence because you sat through the discomfort of all these people telling you no. You're like, cool, I can handle it. You just upgraded your whole self.
Yeah, that was such a massive change. The most frustrating thing, and I would rather people just be upfront, but I understand they want to save face. They'll email me and, hey, we're looking for a seller. I'll send them my prices. The next day, thanks, we've already found someone. It's like, no, you haven't. You saw the prices and it was out of your thing. I would rather them go, oh, really sorry, but the budget's out. Don't bullshit me 12 hours later of sending an inquiry. But do you veto your potential clients that you're going to work with? Do you actually look at what you can and can't do? Or do you just go, right, If they're ready to invest, I'm ready to help them. Because what would happen if they invest and their product sucks, or like what they have is just shit. You know?
So that's why I don't work with as much product-based businesses anymore.
Okay.
So obviously early on, like it was the swimwear brand that like got a lot of my clients in. People were like, cool, I want to do a product. I want to do e-com. And I was like, cool, I can help you, because it's very much digital marketing heavy.
Yeah.
But I also realized I don't want to teach Facebook ads.
Yeah.
I don't want to teach you how to post on Instagram, what hashtags. I was like, that is so boring. Yeah. So now I more so work with entrepreneurs either who are personal brands, they're building an empire, maybe they've got their podcast, they do services, they maybe have a product on the side, and I'll coach them on that. Yeah. But I'm like, I want to work with entrepreneurs who are the product, and then they have some businesses that I can guide them on. So
how do we employ you?
The hardest thing being the product for me that I've found, people want me to be their MC or want me to be their celebrant. I would like to have a job where I can have someone else go and do it and make money residually.
Yeah.
But when I'm the product, it means that I'm really spread thin, and you have that natural never being happy. Like maybe my price, maybe I can make it more. Maybe I can make it more.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this, I really enjoy what I'm doing, but at the same time, I would love to be able to send somebody else and make the same money when I'm not there, you know?
One, you need to increase your price. That tells me significantly. And two,
no one will book me. It's pretty high already for a wedding, but
that's a limiting belief.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a limiting belief. Because I could have said no one's going to pay me 50K.
Yeah.
When like I could barely get, someone paying me way. But it's like, it's definitely possible. So I worked with one of my incredible clients. She came to me. She's a musician. She does weddings. Yeah. So this is going to be relevant for you. So
is it Azarev?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. What a guess.
What a guess.
Because she's a gut.
She's
a gut. She's a gun. She's an absolute legend, and she's an incredible musician.
Yeah.
So whatever you've told her is great, because she's worth it.
So I've been working with her for the past few years, actually. And she is incredible. She came to me. She was just doing weddings, right? And she was like, cool, I don't know how, because like she was booked out, so busy. And so I worked with her, to scale her music business for herself. Yeah. So she's now charging the most in the country, if not WA. We scaled that. But then also, and we worked a lot on her mindset around, the pricing and being like, oh shit, everyone's telling me now I'm too expensive. And so we shifted that. Yeah. But then now she's built out her whole agency where she funnels her inquiries out to other musicians. She's helped them make whole ass careers. So that's so damn fulfilling.
I've seen her doing all those posts as well on how to help you to turn yours and be more successful.
So she's now running an agency where she books people gigs. Like, people are quitting their jobs. She's helping them build like 10K months as a musician in an industry where people tell you can't make money out of it. Yeah. So it's always like so epic. I actually share her story in the book as
awesome.
well.
And you know her because her daughter came and did all the filming for my teacher.
I knew her for the last 3 years because I used to film her and I gave her some promo stuff. So
she's so good, man. She's such a good musician, such a good singer.
So I used to film weddings.
Yeah.
So that's how
I very small world.
I met her through Sev. I don't know if you know Sev. But I met her through here, and she's fucking awesome in what she's doing.
So it's like similar to you, you know, like you could build out an agency, and then she's like now teaching people how to book their own gigs. So she's now getting paid for her advice because she's built such a successful music career for herself, which one is super fulfilling, and two, I'm working with her on, profitability, and she's able to do all these incredible things for her family, for all the purpose that she's able to fulfill, but she's also like able to make some money from an industry that people tell you can't.
It's like comedy
money.
For me.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Is there anyone else you're really proud of, or any other success stories that you're willing to share?
Yeah, there's quite a few in the book actually.
Cool.
Ez is epic. She's one of the Perth girls, so the rest are all across the country or internationally.
Would you do this all via Zoom and stuff, or do you actually go meet them at some point? Or?
Yeah, I do it online because I'm like, people are busy. We don't need to drive half an hour. I do some in-person events and things, but my one-on-one clients like Ez, we chat every day. Like, she has access to my chat and we can chat, and she gets the support real time, which I think is the key. Like, a lot of other mentors are like, cool, wait a month and I'll see you on the call. It's like, my problems have changed. Like, forgot what I even did yesterday. So like, we can chat through things real time, workshop mindset, strategy.
So for your own mental health well-being though, you would need to put a limitation on
boundaries.
You'd be like, all right, Monday to Thursday.
One, I cap myself at like 3 to 5 one-on-one
Nice,
clients
that's
at
what I was
once.
gonna say, yeah.
So that's why it's super exclusive. And they get access to me. They get access to anything that I have that's going to help them.
Yeah.
And then I work with other clients in more group capacities. But my one-on-ones who get access to message me, I'm like, I check in once a day.
Yeah.
If I feel like it, sometimes it'll be like a couple of times a day.
Mm.
But because I've built so much freedom in my schedule, like if I look at my schedule, apart from while I've been doing my book tour and a lot of the press, normally I might have 1 or 2 hours of bookings
Yeah.
for a whole week.
Yeah.
The rest of the time is like, if I want to chill out, I can chill out. If I want to get deep into like a whole new project I'm excited about, I can. So it's like 2 hours of scheduled time, whether it's like teaching a lesson, got a one-on-one call. That's it.
Have you been inspired by Tim Ferriss by any chance of the 4-hour work week? Because it sounds very similar to his journey.
No, never read it before.
No?
Never read it before. But
Same mentality, same methodology,
Yeah.
minimizing it all.
I think it's one of those things like he's an example. I reckon millions of people have that same mindset. He was just someone to take action on it. You know, like put it out there and create a book about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that seems to be what you're doing. You seems to be like you're taking action, which is what a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Delby's got 400 ideas a day.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that any of them are going to work because you've got to take action on them, you know? Like,
Yeah.
And that's the same with a lot of people. They all have these ideas and then they'll be like, fuck, I thought of that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they did it.
I can't remember who told me, but my fear was what you were saying earlier. Someone's going to steal this idea.
Yeah.
No, they're not, because they're fucking lazy.
Yeah.
No one's going to unless I told you the idea, then maybe you would do it because you have that motivation.
And even if they did steal it, it's like you can still come in and do it even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
What is it? Google
Yeah.
came in and did better than Yahoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Facebook, they came in and did it better than MySpace.
Yeah.
So, I went off.
I had the idea for Google Maps, but where people could update traffic so you could dodge it, and then Waze came out and got bought for 1.1 billion or something. I was like, I was like 15 or 16 when that happened.
Classic.
As your thing dies, maybe I was going to quickly ask, any myths? We've kind of hit a few, but what do you think is like the top myth or fake news about entrepreneurship? Is there anything that like people perceive to be one way, but it's actually not true at all? Because we've actually hit by accident quite a few of them. Is there anything
Myths. I do just think the biggest, this just grinds my gears. Like a lot of the people out there preaching, biz advice.
Yeah.
They're like, don't ever watch TV, otherwise you're lazy. Delete your Netflix. Don't eat. Like crazy bro marketing. Like, no. Like, at least some people have caught on to it, but I think a lot of people are still subconsciously doing it. And so early on in my biz journey, I had a mentor and he was like, don't watch TV. And like TV, I love it.
Yeah.
I love chilling out, watching TV.
Fallout is awesome.
love,
Game of Thrones is wicked.
Yeah. I love like reality TV, like Real Housewives, Give Me Kardashians.
Yeah.
And like for so long, I think so many people still preach this in a way, particularly dudes. But then there's also women on the other end of the spectrum that are like, freedom and flow. Look at me, I'm sitting at the beach all day. Money drops in. It's like there's a balance. So I think that's a big myth.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was going to ask about the book as well. What are you proudest of in this book?
Yeah.
What do you hope that it's
big
going to
thing.
help?
Yeah.
And is there anything we haven't sort of touched on that you wanted to cover in the book?
I'm most proud of this book, honestly, feeling like my life's work because I've done not just built my 5 businesses, so I've actually lived it. I'm not just preaching to,
Yeah, you're not one of
preaching
these.
something. I've read a book once and now I'm written a book.
I'm like a life coach.
Yeah, I'm a success coach and I don't have success myself.
I've done 2 weeks of a PT course. I'm a physical trainer. I come in, I know everything about the body.
So I'm like really proud of that because I've done it. So I bring a lot of my own journey in there, but then I back it with deep mindset tools. Like I've done a lot of certifications, a lot of up leveling as well, but also a shit ton of work on myself. Like 5 years ago, I would have never been here. I'd be like, oh, hell no, I'm not talking on a podcast. I have no idea what you guys are going to ask me. Like that would have been my worst nightmare in the past. And so I've done so much work on being okay with being myself. That was my number one fear, that even actually one of the editors, because when you get a publisher, there's lots of editors or there's just editors along the journey. One of their pieces of feedback was, this story makes you highly unlikable, so we should recommend to remove it. And I was like, well, which story is it? And I was like, no, we're keeping it.
That's
Because
part of your journey.
I'm okay with being disliked. If you want to be triggered by whatever it is that story was about, that's okay. because I know it's going to help the right people. And so elements of that, it really feels like me.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a no bullshit guide. It's like that. I've had so many people message me since it's come out. They're like, I just launched something that I've been sitting on for years, because I'm like, just effing do it. But I teach you how to do it, because otherwise if someone just like do it, you're like, no, but I'm still procrastinating. Can't just do it.
As long as North Korea don't get it, we don't want them to launch what they've been sitting on for years.
I think it's always authenticity. That's what
Yeah.
shines through. And
Yeah.
if that's the real you, owning your mistakes, your flaws, as well as what your strengths are and what you're proud of, I think that's a beautiful thing. And that's what always shines through. Like if me and Delby are going to be dickheads, we're going to be dickheads. If we try to be a fake podcast and like, oh, we're going down this avenue, and then people start listening and go, they're not like that.
Yeah.
Like you're going to lose
People
them all.
can always feel it, and I find a lot of times, people like, I'm authentically me, and now I'm dropping F-bombs every second sentence, but it's like something just feels off. It's like, pretty sure you don't talk like that. normally. Like you can always feel the authenticity. So
we were told to do that early on. Someone said, oh, you guys should swear less. And
Get fucked.
Get fucked.
Yeah.
But like that's who we are.
That is.
That's not
And
going to
do
change.
you know what is crazy though? So a lot of messaging that we hear is like, I got told to tone myself down, stop swearing, stop, chill out a bit, don't be too much. Now I'm authentically me, because I'm like ripping it, saying whatever it is. And so for me, as more of an introvert, I was like, maybe I need to swear more.
Right.
Maybe I need to be louder. And like I completely missed the whole mark. One, because I didn't know who I was. I was like, I'm quiet and boring. Like, so, maybe I need to be louder. I need to get out on stage and be like, woo, you know? And so I was like trying to be, I didn't try very hard, but I was like trying to be a bit louder than usual.
You're not Heidi.
No. But I was like, there's actually so much power in being quietly confident. And I get so many messages all the time, particularly from dudes. I don't know what it is, but particularly from dudes who meet me and they're like, oh shit, I met you on the weekend. I didn't know you were a silent boss up the back. And I'm like, I love blowing people's minds. And like, that's my superpower. I don't have to be the loudest in the room. And so that's where I became comfortable with not needing to be the loudest. And for a little while there though, I was trying to be louder than I am. And so there's a balance to it. Hey, and it's really about knowing who you are.
Which is hard to do just as a human, let alone as a business person or an
People
entrepreneur.
ask you to introduce yourself. I'm like, who am I?
Yeah.
What's my name? I don't know.
I didn't really even have a good grasp of who I was and what my beliefs were until I was mid-20s. And I'm still constantly evolving.
We're always learning.
Do you host a podcast or anything like that, or do you do podcasting?
Yeah, I host my podcast called Jess Williamson, the podcast.
Nice.
Very original name.
But it's such even today, I sent you the clip of Gary Vee talking about how he does his podcast, not for the podcast, for the clips.
Yeah.
And it becomes organic content. And he's never done the podcast specifically for people to listen. He's only ever done it to film it.
So interesting.
And how it creates other avenues.
I just enjoy having a chat to people that have done different things.
Yeah, 100%.
It's really wholesome. Put your phone away.
Yeah.
Have a chat.
Exactly.
It's another
Look at
form
someone in the eye.
It's another form of golf. For me, like if this, we don't look at our phones, we just talk. It's not often you get an opportunity to do that. And when you do, like, maybe it might be a first date or something like that. And you always remember that first date feeling like where you were actually getting to know each other.
We just have heaps of first dates every week.
But now
guys and girls.
When you're, later on in a relationship, you might be on your phone and stuff, but you still look back on those first date ones where you're just into each other. And that's what I think these are for us.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great analogy.
What
about, do you even have time to drink? Like, you sound so busy and have to be switched on. Do you drink? Do you party?
Not really. Not really. Like, I used to drink a lot when I was like 18. I even went on student exchange to America.
Yeah,
and like
cool.
American college is next level.
That was always my dream.
I went to the school in New Orleans where, one, it's legal to drink in the streets.
Nice.
Two, I was 19 years old and they didn't care. They were just like, cool. 50-cent shot night. Let's go.
Bourbon
Three,
Street.
you arrive on day one and there's like a fraternity playing beer pong out the front. It's just like you can't.
That's mad. I'd love to do that.
So I used to drink a lot then. I was probably drinking like 6 days a week because you're in American college. But now I don't really drink. I might have like a wine here and there, but no, I don't.
You've got to be at your, for what you're doing anyway, specifically, you've got to be at your highest functioning level, and by drinking, it's just going to take away from that, I guess.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with having a few drinks here and there. Like, I had a great night on Saturday night. First time, apart from when I went to Thailand, first time I got drunk all year.
Yeah.
But even now, I know Sunday set me back. Monday,
I got set back a few days.
I just got set. See, even although my big night is not like your big nights. Like my big night, I was still home by 12:30, relieve the babysitter, and like you go home, and I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah.
So it still wasn't a huge night, but it still set me back.
Yeah.
Like it set me back. Just like little things, like I didn't do the food shop on Sunday because I couldn't be fucked. So then I had to do that on Monday afternoon, which was less time with my daughter in the afternoon and whatever. Like it all snowballs. But, but if you're constantly doing that, and you're trying to run a high functioning business.
Yeah. For me, it's even just like, I mean, none of my friends
Enjoyment.
really, you know, and so we just catch up and do like a chilled night.
Yeah.
We might have a couple of wines.
Kim Kardashian sitting.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to cover? Because we're of your time.
Your courses, your plugs. Where's your? Yeah, I am. We haven't even asked how long you available.
Oh, good. Yeah, so you can grab my book, Unstoppable Success. It's on all the good bookstores, Amazon, Booktopia. All the good bookstores, you can grab a copy. It's super, super practical, dives deeper into all the mindset stuff. And I wrote it for the ADHD brains like
Perfect.
me.
Oh, perfect.
Very easy to read. Lots
Step
of
one, take a
sections.
Dexy. Step two.
I will definitely read this. And
Yeah.
the girl
Awesome.
I've been sort of saying, she found out you were coming on. She's pretty excited to read
Yeah,
that. So
amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And do you have Instagram for people to follow?
Yeah,
Is
come
it
and
at
find me at Jess.Williamson8.
Just.Williamson 8? So just.Williamson 1 was taken.
One,
What's
two,
the
three, four,
seven?
5, 6, 7.
Roxy 68
Roxy
was
68,
taken.
yeah.
So
Awesome. Well,
good.
thanks heaps for your time. This has been really,
Yeah.
really perfectly timed for me.
I
Great.
think the same for me as well.
I'll send you my invoice later.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll speak to your VA.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Anything you want to plug, Delby?
No, I'm not going to buy. Well, if you hear this and if you're in Broome, I'll be there Wednesday to Sunday doing shows. So come check out all the shows in Broome.
Well, this will come out tomorrow morning, so that'll be so tonight. If you're listening today on Friday, I'm at Hideout doing comedy, and then next week I'm on Wednesday at the Quiz. Thursday I'm doing some sort of comedy night in Claremont. I should find out exactly where that is. I keep saying where it is. I'm doing Wanneroo Comedy Shack on Friday, and then Whifford's Varsity on Saturday. Big week next week.
Yeah, Saturday I'm at Freo Comedy Lounge, and then 10:30 late show in the City Comedy Lounge. So if you want to come check out the comedy.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Fuck yeah, thanks.
Cool.
Hey, Roo.